everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I'm going to put this little Fuji cherry. I think it's a Fuji cherry. I'll show you immediately a photograph. Maybe some expert can identify this kind of flower. So I'm going to repot this. Well, not because it needs a repot, but because I want to do the first selection of the roots. And then put that little magnificent tree in a way too big bonsai pot because, well, it's gonna look good and it's gonna allow the tree to expand the roots on the side instead of from top to bottom, which is of course something we do not desire in bonsai. So let's start immediately. I got this tree at the Nolanders Trophy and it's growing in some kind of bark type substrate, but I think it's just a top layer. So I think I'll try to reuse that top layer because, well, it's bark something, I don't know what it is exactly. So I'm gonna mix that up with the substrate that I would use. So I'm just going to scratch off the top here like so. Okay, and get that in the substrate that I want to use, which would be that one. So I already prepared a good portion of what I'm gonna need with drainage screen, etc. So this will stay as a layer for the base, and I'm gonna mix this whole thing up, and that will be my substrate for the tree. That being done, I now need to have a look at these roots, and what I see is that I have, well, quite a lot of roots, so that's good, but what I also see is that I have a lot of compost, which will make this whole operation rather complicated. I don't like that. It's gonna be difficult to sort these roots out without removing too much root and damaging that. So yeah, this is gonna be tricky again. So combing out radially. Got a new chopstick, bamboo one. Not that it matters, I think. Yeah. Well, it's full of roots, that's for sure, but it's always possible that I remove a whole lot of roots, and that's what I don't want. So I'm going to go ahead here and try to get all that substrate off and, well, at least find a reasonable root base, a good root flare to start with. That's not a good root, it will have to come off, but okay. I think I'm just gonna shut down the camera here, and this is gonna be, well, at least half an hour of scratching and opening up this root ball, and then I'll wash it because it's gonna take some time. So see you. So I've been scratching and cleaning up for half an hour now, and washing the roots and then removing again some of this substrate. It's a very, very slow process, and I still cannot see what is going on here. I have the impression that this trunk is going very low, but I think that I can now safely remove, well, not me, well, yeah, safely, because look at all this fine roots here. I can safely remove some roots that are not really good roots, growing straight up and stuff like that. So I will already remove these ones, and it will of course make the whole operation afterwards a little easier. But I'm still looking for the trunk and the root flare, and here, for example, I have a very strange and absolutely not good root, which is curving back. So, and under it I feel that there is a big trunk. So I think that I will remove the little root here, and by that I will also lower the root plane, but it's gonna be a little bit of a gamble to see where these roots are going to lead me. And this takes a whole lot of time. And I really want to do that nicely. So, okay. Now, here I see a root that will never be a good root. Never. It's quite radial, but it's immense. I hope that you can see that. It's an immense root. And then it goes straight down. I could keep this portion here, but I definitely will remove this. And this might be a portion where there's a lot attached to it. So I now have to get this portion out. And it is extremely entangled between the rest. So this is again going to be a fight, a struggle, and I'm going to spare you all the horrible details. So what I will do is try to grab this root, see what's attached to it, because well, it's loose now. So I'm going to strip this root from all the feeder roots. And it's millimeter by millimeter. And then I see with what I'm left with, because I can really not do more until I know what's left of this root base. Well, root ball. Root base is absolutely not a thing that I can work on right now. I first need to see what I have. Well, it is obvious this is a dramatic root base. So, as you see, there is a gigantic root going down here. It's the taproot, splitting up here. And then we have this big root here. If I lose that big root, I don't lose a whole lot of fine feeder roots, but when I look at the other side, the whole tree is making this curve here, and I don't think that there is any future for this portion, so I will have to remove a whole lot of roots, because I cannot count on these to become something in the future. So this is going to be a root reduction with the idea of keeping the tree healthy and happy for 1 year, and then allowing this to extend a little more. You see there are a few little roots here. This to extend more. There's a little root here which is very nice because it is in a good spot. This is, well, it's not a bad root, but it's of course not totally okay. But I need to let the good roots take over without weakening the tree too much. So I'm going to have to compromise here. This will be my root base, and this will have to be removed completely in the future. But in order to keep the tree healthy, that's what I'm gonna keep. So this part of the root ball is completely bad. It's not good. It will never be a part of the final design of this tree. But I need it at this moment to keep my tree healthy. And because I know that this will probably become, well, this root plane will become part of the definitive root plane, I will take this as my front. It has a nice spread here. Also these little roots here. So, well, it is not a good root plane, it is not a good root ball, but it is more than enough to keep this tree happily growing, and therefore it is a good thing. I'll have to keep these little roots happy, keep the tree happy, and next year it's gonna come out of the pot again, and I will be able to do a better selection of the roots. And work on that root base a little more every year. But of course it will be a work of many years to get a root base with a good root flare. So I'm going to finish potting this up, working the soil in, and I'll be back. So the little cherry tree is in its first bonsai pot, and you're looking at the front. Am I happy? Yes, because it was a very bad root base. It still is quite a bad root base, but there is a plan to get a nice radial root base, and it's on its way. It's gonna take at least, I think, 2 or 3 repots before this root base is established. But I have an idea of what could be the front, and this is the front. So I can slowly start to work on the ramification. I can grow this tree a little more, because now it's, well, 3/4 of my pinky, which is a very small tree. I'd like to have a much bigger tree, because these flowers are so beautiful. That is something you want to see every year abundantly. So it needs a good water now. I didn't go completely mad on the roots, removed a fair amount, but left more more than the tree needs, and I deliberately let a whole portion of roots that I don't think are good, but the health of the tree is the first priority. I'm not too wild about the idea that if it doesn't work from the first time, well, you start over and your tree is dead and that's it. So I think it's, well, I mean, it's a living tree. Please consider that. So that's all that I have for you today. Please like, subscribe. Well, if you liked it, because if you don't like it, don't like it. Okay, so that's all that I have for you today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.